The end of summer typically brings a flurry of activity to my garage and that of Cousin John's, as we both prepare our 50 to 70-year-old British cars for the long back road drive to Stowe, Vermont. It's usually a 5-hour drive up and a 5-hour drive back home. Driving those twisty back roads of Vermont at a spirited pace may just be the best part of British Invasion weekend. We arrive in northern Vermont in the ski village of Stowe by mid-afternoon. This year represents the 33rd year of the Stowe British invasion, and one of the featured marks this year is Austin Healey. I was busy getting our 1955 Healey 100 ready for the drive while Cousin John made great progress on his 1966 Austin Healey 3000. I guess you could say that our two cars span the 20-year life of Austin Healey, my model being the first of the so-called Big Healeys, and John's being the last of the series. Actually, my favorite part of the weekend is Friday night. The main street is closed to all traffic but British cars. There are food tents, a beer garden, and a fantastic band plays from a stage set up in front of the old town hall. We generally elect not to park downtown, and we walk to the event to beat all the traffic and hassle and logistics of trying to park a bunch of British cars. An added feature of the weekend, of course, is an impromptu celebration of Janet's birthday.
Star-Spangled Banner.
Saturday begins with a quick drive to the show field, where cars are parked by Mark and Klaus. Throughout the day, participants vote for the best car in the 61 classes of vehicles. 61 classes ranging from Austin Healey, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, MG, Singer, Aston Martin, Jaguar, Land Rover, Morgan, Triumph, Lotus, Mini Morris, Sunbeam, TVR, Jensen, and British motorcycles too. This year, there are about 450 British cars at the invasion. A nice turnout, although not quite as big as it used to be when they had nearly 900 cars one year. By mid-afternoon, the votes have all been tallied and awards are handed out to the first, second, and third place in each of the 61 classes. There are also judged awards for the concours d'elegance of highly restored and properly presented British cars. There were upwards to 40 Austin Healeys in 4 different classes by model. We were honored to receive first place in the category of Austin Healey 100 models. Hey, first place is pretty good. Of course, there were only 2 cars in the class. But anyway, it was nice recognition to have the big Healey 100 on display, and people appreciated seeing it.
We had a great time with that show, and it was our first time at Stowe, and then we moved on to, we still have that Jag, but moved on to other cars, and met up with my cousin one time and realized that he had British cars too, and started talking about Austin Healeys, and he sort of talked me into looking at Austin Healeys, and I fell in love with the 100, and that's the car here. Yeah.
I remember Bouchard Farm. I came up and trying to get the farmer to get his cows off early was always a challenge. I came up in the 47 one time, opened the door, and stepped out right in the middle of a fresh cow.
Yeah.
Welcome to Vermont, Michael.
And the grass was about 3 feet high.
Yeah, well, and then the funny part is by the end of the weekend, it looked like a park out there after everybody between mowing the grass and trampling everything down and all of that stuff. And we were able to dig up and have a Rovers Off-Road program there, which unfortunately the town won't let us tear up.
Yeah, that was a great
youth
program.
Soccer field.
That was a great
So
program.
over the years, we've had cricket, polo, all kinds of different things based on where we were and what we could do. We're relatively limited now.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing it and sharing it.
Well,
Great.
Thank you for doing this event. It's
All right.
always
It's
the
always
highlight
the
of the year.
weekend of the third Saturday in the month of September.
And no rain.
And no rain. This is about the best weather we've had.
Sunday's drive home is always somewhat anticlimactic. Although, once again, we thoroughly enjoy driving the country roads of Vermont. This year there was a bit of foliage color in the mountains. And every year we say it was a great weekend, but I'm not so sure if we'll go next year. But we soon realize it's a weekend not to be missed. As our generation ages, attendance has greatly diminished at the British invasion. This year, there were about 435 cars. That's certainly the biggest British car event in New England. But in its heyday, the event drew upward to nearly 900 British cars. Will we go again next year? Of course. We used to travel to the show with a group of friends and relatives that numbered as many as 10 people or more. It was Cush and JR, Bill and Frisky, Wayne and Frida, Cousin Carla, Cousin John and Janet, Judy and I, and sometimes a few other folks, all driving British cars, all of us together. But this year, it was just Judy and I, John and Janet, driving 2 cars. The invasion to us is a tradition that marks the end of summer. Once it was almost a mini family reunion. But still, it's more than just a weekend to enjoy our old British cars. It's a bit of reliving our youth and a celebration of our love for little British cars that began some 50, 60 years ago when we became lifetime bestowed participants in driving and endlessly working on little British cars.